Welcome to Tablet, a micro RPG podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm one of the hosts and the editor of this production. Tablet is an excuse to get my friends to play micro RPGs with me. And today we're going to be playing a very fun micro RPG, Crash Pandas, written by Grant Howitt. Hold steady.
Mitzi goes, I don't know what that means.
And Brian O'Connor jumps into the Supra.
Oh my god!
I almost did this, but I thought I might die. Oh yeah, because you're drunk.
So
amazing. What is your plan?
So this is where I'm sort of struggling with the rules, because there's use item and then there is action, and those are separate.
Yes.
Because one of my items is cough syrup, and I want to pour it into his little cup holder because I'm sure he has a drink. He's very cool. He's wearing all black. He's in a Supra. He's got to have a super gulp.
Super gulp.
So I want to fill his super gulp with cough syrup, which I think would probably be a chutzpah roll, unless that's using an item and therefore not counting. In which case, I'll just hang out in this car then.
I think that should work for an action. I don't know why you couldn't. In the spirit of this, I don't know why you couldn't use your items.
Yeah.
You did say that the windows were rolled up.
I did do that. I did say that. You are correct. So you'd have to. I didn't say anything about a sunroof.
You did not. Do Supras have sunroofs?
They do now.
Some of them do. This one does.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump off the car onto his car and then pour the cough syrup from the sunroof into his super gulp.
Okay.
That's the plan.
This
That's
is going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So make your roll. And you're rolling for chutzpah?
I'm rolling chutzpah. I'm rolling 4 dice.
4 dice. Okay.
I guess I could potentially. So let me look at my my background to see if I could have this.
That's right.
Relevant.
Yeah. Don't forget that if it's relevant to your background.
As a wide-eyed rookie who's in this for love. I don't think any of this is relevant to what I'm currently doing.
If you're a mole, that's about infiltrating.
I am pretty. That is pretty sneaky.
It is sneaky.
I don't know. I'm not buying it.
I was trying. I don't know. Four seems pretty good, though.
4 up. That is 1 6.
Okay.
And then 2 2s and a 3.
1 6 and 2 2s and 3. So that's only one success. I didn't say what the success should be.
You did not. I'll let you do that in your head.
Yeah. I think you almost get there. Here's what I think happens. I think you make the jump, and it's all good. You make it, you land it, you're in the sunroof, you're looking down, you can see driving. Here's what I think happens. I think you pour the cough syrup with every intention of it landing in the perfect Supra big gulp. But what happens instead is he turns or makes a slight move or goes to adjust the radio, and instead of pouring in the cup, I think you pour it on his face.
I like that. That sounds
and
great.
it goes all over his face, and he immediately starts swerving the car all over the place.
Amazing.
Like a crazy person. And you are inside there.
Yeah, so I'm on the sunroof. Here's my thought of what to twist it. I'm a mole. My eyes aren't very good.
No.
So my accuracy of pouring cough syrup long range is not very good. So I look down, I see what I think is a big gulp. It's kind of blurry, and I pour all my cough syrup into it, and it's the top of the head.
Yeah.
So he just gets a top of the head full of narcotic cough syrup.
Right.
And then now I'm in a car, holding on to the roof.
Yeah. And you are now separated a little bit from your car, so
that's
you
very
need to
scary.
try and
Yeah,
focus on getting back there. For sure. We're swerving all around.
All right.
Who's next?
Still got an action.
Yes.
I want to focus on making sure this car can keep going.
Okay.
And here's the deal. I think it's more along the lines of that hold steady. We got this. We can do this. We keep it together. So I was aiming for rotundity to keep the car going.
Okay.
However, and here's the bit. I got my start in demo derbies. And the entire reason I do this is because it's the love of the race. That's that's the only conflict is if you're not driving, then what's the point?
Right.
It's all about keeping it going forward. Can that get me 2 dice or just 1?
I would say the two things are really similar. I guess I would have read demo derby stuff as being more technical. Why not? Let's throw them both in.
Alrighty, cool.
Yeah.
In that case, could somebody loan me 4 dice?
Yeah.
I got 3.
I got the 4.
Okay.
Great.
That is, I should have asked for how many successes because I got 2.
Yeah. So, and specifically, what exactly you're trying to do with your rotundity?
Ideally, either treat the stability of the car as better, or do something about the fact that there's things fucked up in the steering wheel. Like, have you ever actually seen a demo derby?
Yeah.
So you know just how messed up those cars get,
Yeah.
and then how wacky the drivers act just to
Right.
keep the car going in something close to a straight line.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think 2 successes would be good for that. I think there's a lot of things on the card that you could fix. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Great. So what does that look like?
Somewhere between helping Mitzi hold the wheel and a lot of percussive maintenance.
Okay, percussive maintenance. I love that. You're rocking it around. You're banging on stuff. You're climbing on things. You're blowing in cartridges, etc., etc. Perfect. All right. Anybody hasn't gone?
That was all of us.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So here we are. You guys are going 9 speed now. 2, 3. Do. We're gonna go ahead and roll for it. Ugh. All right. This is a good roll for you guys. I'm making the separations here. Well, okay. So we have 4 successes once again. And we have 2 damage. So it puts us back down, unfortunately, from 7 to 5. Great. Yes.
I want to try and use some of these successes to start running the Supra off the road.
They're wobbling
already
around.
wobbly.
Yep.
They're swerving around crazy.
There is one issue with that, however.
I would like to use another success to try to get Brian, like, we just reach and grab him.
I mean,
we
the
skew
top
him?
is down, and he's on top of the other one. It's easy enough for him to just slide in.
Oh, I have.
How are you guys doing it? How are you guys doing
Here's
it?
the thought. Can I pitch this? I'm gonna steal from you. If you hit the Supra hard enough, I'll just fall in the car.
Inside the car?
No, into the Lambo.
Oh.
Because if you hit, I have inertia as a fairly rotund raccoon. If the Supra is hit, I will stay in the air, and then suddenly there's a Lambo underneath me.
So I'm imagining
love that.
like left and right, like those desk toys where the balls hit each other.
Exactly.
Like, poof, and
And then-
you'll just quietly fall into the. Okay.
He's the one left in the middle that doesn't move.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and that explains how we took 2 damage.
I love it.
That rat.
So I would say that's really well thought out and clear. I think that's only two successes needed.
One to hit Supra, one to get me in car.
Perfect. So you have narrowly made your way back in. So here's the challenge with that, though. Remember how we said that the GT500 was on the other side of the Supra? Mm-hmm. So you guys bonked into the Supra, burk, and then it drifted into the neighboring lane, dropping you like a pinball back into the Lambo. However, these two have now collided and have made contact with each other. It's a crazy car accident situation over here. And they start to spin out. So they are both now spinning and facing the wrong way on the road. So they have spun out totally.
Oh, so they're heading okay.
They're now heading backwards.
So okay.
They're in reverse.
Well, they're not in reverse. They spun
Yeah.
out and are driving now the wrong way, and so it's chaotic accident. However, all of that gives we can move the pedal pub. All of that gives our influencer enough of an opportunity to make a little closer proximity to you.
I was really thinking they were going to be turning towards us And then I was going to hit the brakes so that they rammed the pedal pump.
That pedal pump is almost a mile
Yeah, they're
back.
ways away
We're
now.
going 80 miles an hour.
No,
For
remember,
sure.
but
Not,
80
a little
was
more
at
than
6.
that.
Was at 6 speed.
You're
We're
doing
going
like
faster than that.
We're
You're doing
going
like
9
100
speed.
miles an hour.
Okay.
Too
Here we go.
I would say almost too fast. Perhaps a little
Too furious.
too fast, too ferociousness.
I love it. Great. Okay, so behind you, by the way, also, you see just a little bit, very back of the pack, but you see the all black, unassuming car starting to gain on you guys. They drift over a few lanes and they're behind you. It's a ways. You're probably not under big threat from them. So to sum up, you have right next to you now the influencer and the pink bug has approached you. And you have the Supra and the GT are fighting neck and neck, and they've somehow managed to spin themselves around and are going backwards. They'll probably get their shit straightened out and be on your tail shortly. And way in the back, we have the all black, unmarked car starting to creep forward once again. All right. So you are nearing even closer now. You can almost see everything getting closer to you, and you can hear the lights and the sounds. You can hear the rides, and the traffic is starting to get really choked, really boxed up. Everybody wants to go to the Ferris wheel on this beautiful, gorgeous, sunny LA evening. And there also seems to be some kind of event, which is weird. You can see more cars parked around than usual. You can see like, those lights that kind of shine from like stadiums that shine up into the clouds. You can see like those lights kind of flying back and forth. You can see for some reason there's like a little biplane with like a signage flying around. There's something going on. What is that? And you look and you can see now pulling in is a huge tour bus for a children's musical production. And it's a huge, think like the Wiggles or Blues Clues.
Oh, no.
Is like the Wiggles Live is doing a performance at the pier. So all of this traffic is starting to box up. So now we have a big tour bus that has just merged and is right in front of you going like 10 miles an hour practically. So big tour bus, and it's merged out in front of you, and it's going really slow. So you have had to, I assume, maybe hit the brakes, but it's whatever you do, you are fast approaching at like 100 miles an hour, and there is a practically stopped children's The Wiggles tour bus right in front of you. What do you do?
Oh, gosh.
All right.
If we could communicate, I have an idea, but we can't
You
communicate.
can't.
You can't communicate.
It's too fast. It's too fast, man. The Lamborghini is way too fast, and Dom is drunk, and Brian is all bamboozled from having just dropped from the other car. It's chaos in there. You guys can't talk to make a decision.
Well, and Mitzi is just in complete chaos headspace. Like,
Loving it.
well, she is having the time of her life. She is screeching. She is cackling.
Love it.
She is not listening to y'all.
Totally. There could be like a plan starting to happen,
Yeah.
and Mitzi would just be like, whatever, fuck it.
I'm the one driving.
Amazing. All right.
All right. I got it.
All right. 3, 2,
Everybody,
1.
wait, has everyone chosen?
Reveal.
2.
2.
3.
5.
Okay, so we got 2 2s. All right, so turn
I was
left.
gonna say, Matt. I was like, "There's no way. There's not a goddamn soul at this table is gonna ever touch that brake pedal."
You guys haven't braked one time.
You're goddamn right.
Braking is for suckers.
For sure.
Listen, nothing can't be solved by just going a little faster.
Totally. So you guys are roaring along at 100 miles an hour, and we get 2 people choosing to do left turns. So we established earlier that this is turning more, which puts you turning at 60 degrees. So you guys have now pulled out and are pretty much in front of the Super and the GT, who are still kind of tussling to get turned around and going the right way. And so you are right next to the big tour bus, I would say. If you've turned, well, you didn't straighten out, I guess.
We straightened out a little bit more because we had a 60-degree turn left, and then somebody
30.
chose 3. So
Oh, that's right.
I did.
Wow. So two 30-degree left turns equals a 60-degree left turn plus a turn right again. You guys straightened it out, and you are right next to the tour bus. I'm fucking amazed.
And then you gun it.
Listen, we are so good at driving.
You guys are amazing at driving. I am blown away. Nobody hit the brakes, and instead, I think we had an accelerate.
Yes.
How many accelerates?
Just one.
Just one.
Puts us at 10.
Holy shit. I'm going to say 10 is you guys are now going 110 miles an hour.
Mitzi is like scream laughing as she just like drives maniacally.
Amazing. The bug also makes a similar choice and is on the opposite side of the tour bus, neck and neck with you guys. And this is by the second because obviously you guys are going way faster than the tour bus, so it's going to start to slide behind you. But for the moment, you are side by side. The black car has caught up.
Oh, man.
These guys have now gotten themselves turned around again. And so you have a pack of 3 kind of right behind you. So to sum up for our listeners, we've got our Screamin' Red Lamborghini, which is right next to the tour bus. Opposite the tour bus, you guys could almost see them if you could see through the tour bus. You've got the pink VW Bug Influencer. And in a line of 3 right behind you, you've got the other 3 racers.
Well,
All
that's
right.
10 speed. Time for the roll.
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
So many.
9, 10. All right, here we go, guys. Okay.
Oh, man.
Wow. So you got 6, 6, 4, 6, 6, 4, another 6, 1 damage. So that knocks you down to 4 of 10.
Holy shit.
How far ahead can we streak at this point?
And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes. The
Totals
most
up to
you've
9
had
off,
ever.
off the 2 we had banked.
Yep.
And then how far on the track are we?
6, 7. How far on the track? I would say that you guys are in the fiction of this. I'd say you guys are 3/4 of the way there. In the setup, I would say you're maybe 1 obstacle away, maybe 2.
Mitzi thinks we should just gun it.
All points into streak ahead of rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Mitzi wants to do, but
Okay.
I have some bullshit, but I might want to save it. Because it depends on how close the bug gets to us.
Okay. Well, you won't know unless you pull out in front of the.
I would say let's spend 2 or 3 of the successes on streak ahead, and then we have the extras banked for the final moment.
I would. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good
too.
idea, yeah.
Okay, so you guys
'Cause
are
I have a
using.
semi-nuclear option.
So you guys are using how many of your 7?
We have
We have
9.
9.
You have
We had
9.
2 banked
That's
from
right.
last time.
That's right.
3?
Yeah,
Leaving
I'm fine
6?
With, I'm fine with using 3, leaving 6.
Yeah.
Great. So you streak ahead and you leave the tour bus in the dust, and you are now miles ahead practically. I would say the bug also uses this as an opportunity to veer up closer to you, but not quite all the way. So just like 1 little car length just behind. If you were to look in that rearview mirror, you'd be able to see them. And the other 3 kind of maintain this line back here, but they are having a hard time catching up because they have all had accidents along the way.
I'm also enjoying that our police siren is still going.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I think in the fiction of this, I think that's what's making this possible is people
Yeah.
are getting
There
out
are
of your
some-
way. Totally.
And then I'm imagining us just like barreling down the interstate in LA, and people are like, oh God, a cop, get out of the way. And it's just like an old raccoon. like, with what going quickly probably looks like a pearl necklace.
Yes. Amazing. I love it. Okay. So pretty much our last obstacle. You guys are practically there. You now are starting to see the staff-only parking garage just ahead. You can see there is a very, because again, this is illegal, you can see a very tiny little hand-painted checkered checkered flag that's been posted near it unobtrusively so as not to be noticed. And you know that that is your destination. So you're roaring along. You can practically smell that delightful, wonderful post-beach day, post-concert trash that is awaiting you at the Santa Monica Pier when just ahead of you, you can see the worst thing of all. Orange barricades because the road is closed for the concert. So and it looks pretty big. There's a bunch of different barricades. There's those water barrels that they use for like road construction. There's flashing lights and signs. Sorry. There's even a utility truck that's there like directing people toward the concert parking.
And our parking garage that we're aiming for is behind these
Just on the
barricades.
other side of that.
You said it's like the water barrels, pylons sort of
Yeah.
barriers, none of the like concrete barriers.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like think temporary road closure, not like permanent construction. It's for the concert.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, just to add a little flavor, all the civilian cars around you, by the way, are full of kids because this is a children's music concert.
Okay, I won't. Okay, yeah. Less car explosions then. Got it.
Well, maybe. Use your better judgment. You have the other racers near you. What are you doing?
I know what I'm doing, and I know how I want to play this. It's going to depend on what other people have done.
Same.
And remember, you have 6 successes to play with. Those successes can include finding or creating a better route. Or anything you want, really. All right, it's approaching. The barricades, they're getting closer. You guys have not yet even touched the brake. This is like in Gone in 60 Seconds when Nicolas Cage like never hits the brake in that final fight.
Yep.
And you guys are roaring along, 110, 120. What do you do? Everybody ready?
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5.
6.
6.
Okay.
Go faster.
Go faster. So, you guys, police siren still going. All the children's car concert goer minivans are peeling out of the way very carefully. And you guys are now going, I'm going to say you're going 130 miles an hour, which is outrageous.
Up to 11 speed.
Amazing. Yes, 11 speed. Thank you for the reminder. So you guys are going 11 speed. Let's resolve those 6s.
Before that, Brian O'Connor reaches up towards the steering wheel and presses a little red button. Like
The
full
NOS?
The NOS. Completely.
I'm also going to use the NOS, so
Perfect. You've hit the NOS. All right, let's resolve those 6s. We usually go this way around.
let's go the other way.
Let's go the other
'cause
way.
I've got some bullshit.
Percussive maintenance is all we need at this point. We just have to make it there. That's all we got to do.
Okay.
Going for rotundity.
Okay,
just
give
cashing
me
in the
a
demo
more
derby.
specific. What does that look like specifically in these final moments?
It's quite literally a come on, literally yanking the brake pedal out and jamming it back in place to make sure everything's still going to work.
Okay.
We're never going to use the brakes, so obviously I could take that and fix something else with it.
Right. You're removing, I love this, your rotundity. You are removing the brake and using it for something else. All right, give us that roll.
Okay, I'm going to need 3 and then 4, one more for the demo derby trick. So I need two more dice.
Oh. Great.
One more still.
Oh, sorry. I thought you.
The ideal for this was 1 success equals a hit point on the car.
Right. I would say, yeah, you're describing something really tough. I think 2 successes would do it, and then you can get 2 successes back. Or 2 damage back.
Huzzah. Well, that
4
is
and up.
2 5s and a 4.
Amazing. 2 5s and a 4. So that's 3 successes. So I'm going to say you bump all the way back from 4 all the way up to 7. So your car is now back restored at 70%. However, in the fiction of this, because we did establish this, you now have no brake pedal. So if you guys want to brake, you're going to have to come up with some other kind of solution.
The finish line is going to be interesting.
For sure.
Well, at least it's not our car.
Yeah, pretty much.
At the same time, this is the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Going around the horn. We did your accelerate already. And over to you.
So I think with the momentum of what Pip has done, I want to try to drive the car, essentially like to jump over all of these tour buses.
Amazing.
Or it's the barricades, right?
Or the barricades, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what are you thinking to use as a ramp? Are you gonna, what do you need?
That's a good question.
I've got a thought.
Yeah.
I also have a thought.
So in Fast and the Furious 1, there's a big moment where he flips the car by hitting it against the semi-truck accidentally. So if we just like hit a parked car, hit the fender,
I was going to suggest something like this.
we could do a spiral over.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's what I want to try to do.
Okay. So pick your stat and feel free to add anything that would be relevant.
Great.
I might suggest your chaotic death wish could be applicable in this scenario.
I say, makes no difference to me. I think this counts as ferociousness, which is a 4 for me. So
Yeah, basically attacking another car in order to make this flip. Yeah.
yeah. Cool. And like, I don't care about human cars. I'm a raccoon.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
All right, lay it on us. And I think this is going to be tough. I
Yeah.
think this is going to be 3 successes.
Okay. Come on. Come on. I got 2 successes.
Okay, 2 successes.
Can we use one of our banked successes?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I think that can be how it works. So you guys are now down to 5.
perfect.
And so describe it for us how this plays out.
So I see a little like greenish car that I just think is ugly, and I decide that's the one. And so I go out and I'm using the momentum from the rotundity, and I'm discovering if I can just like sort of keep the steering wheel and almost like, because I am a raccoon who has no idea how cars work, I think that it is just like me like willing the car upwards.
Amazing.
But then from that, we managed to go fast enough that we just hit a car, and it does spin over all of the barricades to the other side.
You do a 6 slow-mo spiral
Yup.
up and over the barricades. And are you landing on the roof or on the wheels?
On the wheels.
On the wheels. Poof, 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 poof.
Yeah.
All right.
You pressed Z or R twice.
I did.
Use the boost to get through.
Amazing.
And of course, the whole time Mitzi is like, ha ha ha, this is living.
Yes.
And it's just like ready to go. And she's laughing. And then when she lands, she was like, I knew I could do that.
Amazing. Love it. So you have now been part of the car flipping and twisting wildly in the air. It has landed on the wheels. Over to you. You are drunk. What do you do next?
I think so. We see the finish line, correct?
Yeah, you can see the parking garage from here, and you can
Okay,
see the checkered flag.
And I think that I want to use the rest of the drone that I did using chutzpah to pop both of the tires on the front. So when we hit, we just the tires won't move. So we'll just like slide into the finish line.
Interesting. I think you would just flip end over end, wouldn't you? If you landed and then the tires were flat, wouldn't you just like flip?
There's all sorts of really dumb physics at play.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now, it's movie physics. That's what
For
we're
sure,
on.
for
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
What is your goal with this? Is this are you
To slow us down. So if I like pop the tires,
you're trying to hold on a second? Are you trying to brake?
I'm not trying to brake. I'm trying to slow us down.
Amazing.
So that we don't just like barrel, so that we hit the
Yeah.
finish line and don't just barrel through it.
Okay.
Got
And I'm
it.
thinking if I like destroy our tires, that will like we won't keep going because we can't
Perfect.
brake.
Perfect. Okay, I understand now.
And I think as we're flipping, I see a family like a minivan that we're headed directly for, and I'm like, not on my watch. And it's like,
Because it's a family minivan.
Because it's a
family minivan.
It's a family minivan. So I am going to use that moment it's on the other end of the finish line. So I have to like make sure that we brake before we plow into the minivan.
Of course.
So I'm going to use the chutzpah to destroy the tires and like slow us down. And I'm arguing that because it's family, I get another dice.
Amazing. Perfect.
How many successes do I need
I
on
think
this
this is going to
ridiculous
be.
plan?
It makes sense to me what's happening. So I think that's going to be a 2.
2.
Because popping the tires will slow the car down imminently.
A 5 and a 4. A 2 and a 1.
Amazing.
Ooh, that was close. Okay.
I think what happens to resolve this is as that flip is happening and you make pop, you make that change, and indeed the beautiful tires and lands, finishes the flip, and in fact it almost immediately starts to screech to a halt. And I think you come to a stop within like an inch of that minivan. It's like,
Yeah, I think we do the flip and hit, and I see us careening towards the minivan with the
Yes.
little kids just staring at us like, no! And I rush out, pop the tires,
Yes.
and slide.
amazing. The kids inside burst into applause. Yay! That was so cool. Do it again.
I stand up and take a bow.
Well, here's the
Amazing.
interesting part. We still have 11 speed to roll off
11 speed to
because
roll
we
off.
we've all taken our actions now.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, okay, in order to resolve this, because technically
It says-
speaking, the thing you did,
The second to the last paragraph
Yeah.
talks about that.
yeah, so you did a thing that basically makes inducing additional damage, right? It says, like, if it's a glancing blow or a breakable object, or if it's a head-on crash or something like that, it does damage equal to speed. Speed is reduced to 0. I think in the context of this, because you're deliberately trying to destroy these tires and that's what's inducing this damage, I think you are able to successfully get the speed down from 11 to like 1, probably. I don't think you're fully stopped. Maybe we retcon that. I don't think you're fully stopped. I think you're going like, and you get right into a coast right at the end. So you are now down to 1. It is our final moments. You can see around you the construction bollards and stuff like that are unharmed. The other parked vehicles have made their way through. This minivan is unharmed. You see the checkered flag right in front of you. Way behind you on the other side of the construction block, you can see the other racers have all fetched up right at the same place, and they're all like looking through their cars and looking over you, trying to work out how to do this, but they were just a little bit too slow and couldn't make it happen. So I think the moment for you guys, let me hit you with this. I think the moment is using your little 1 speed. I think you slide on up towards that finish line and you stop right before it. And then you get out and walk over the finish line because you had this in the bag.
Amazing.
We all like climb over the windshield, down the hood.
Yes.
I think I prefer the idea of we get behind the car.
That's what I
and
was
push
gonna
it over.
say.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay behind the wheel because like someone has to be driving, but I'll like just guide it over and then like wave at the
Perfect.
kids as we
Perfect.
push it over.
Perfect. So indeed, you push carefully, push the car over, and I think right as it crosses the finish line and you step to the side, I think the last of the 2 tires
Smoke billowing out from the hood.
and the car is toast, but you guys are home free. You scamper down into that parking garage. There's a dumpster and a pathway through an air duct and an unlocked door. And before you know it, you have the run of the place. All the cotton candy and fair food and trash that your little raccoon hearts desire.
Serious question. Who was in the black car? Did we ever see the driver?
Well, of course, it was 4 raccoons.
Amazing.
That's why they suddenly turned randomly and drove for no reason into the side of the wall.
You're playing a second game of this.
Yeah.
Max is playing an entirely different game.
Wanted to do that.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. That was Crash Pandas by Grant Howitt. We are back for our review time, and we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. What were our likes and dislikes? So we'll take it in turns. Does anybody want to go first?
I'd be happy to. I've got some. So I really enjoyed this game. This was so fun. So I think my favorite thing about this game is I love the driving mechanic. I love having a role playing game where where there's the randomization is not just purely dice rolls, but what the other people at the table are trying to do. It feels so in theme to be like we're all doing different stuff at the same time. We have more or less the same goal, and like when we accidentally double turned right and we're like, ah, crap, we're gonna miss. That was super fun. That was absolutely my favorite part. Although my dislike is kind of in the same thing. I feel that there is a little bit of missing information in that driving section of like what does 2 left turns look like? Is that 60 degrees into the wall? So I feel it was like it's up to the GM, obviously, because it does say that later if there's like the GM chooses how to move the car,
Right.
But I feel that that could have been slightly more clarified as for exactly mechanically how does the driving interact. Otherwise, it was so much fun.
Great.
I also really liked it. I felt like it required a lot of stuff for like a one shot for a micro RPG. Like you have to have specific cars and stuff like that, which we kind of winged or X-winged.
Nice.
But I felt like that was kind of weird for what it was. That being said, it was a really fun mechanic to have. I would also say more details as well as more options. I think some of the equipment that we had worked really well, and then some of it I was like, I don't know, I maybe would have put some more actual useful things on there.
I will third the driving mechanic. I love games where everyone has to make a snap decision and you can't confer with each other.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things in micro RPGs, and I really like that. I think I agree with you, Tim, that like some clarity, cause like we ran into this a little bit of like the use an item and an action were a little unclear. And again, to kind of talk to what you said, Cassandra, some of the items, I didn't know if they were one use only, or do I only have one banana peel, or do I have like a whole bunch of bananas that I can throw at people?
Yeah.
So just a little clarity about that is one of the things that I didn't like.
Forgot to say that my favorite part was just being a raccoon and trying to drive. I just thought it was very silly and
It's
fun.
so fun.
And I think that is a lot of the point of the game. I just really liked it.
Things that I really loved. I love the theme of raccoons as a group trying to drive a car. I think that's hilarious. I loved the car driving mechanic as well. I think, likewise, I echo the feeling of loving stuff that makes you have to make a snap decision. I think the parts where I struggled the most as a GM was tracking the speed and damage. Not so much in terms of keeping track of it numerically, although that isn't always my strong suit. More, what did it do? Like, what was the purpose of it? Like, it's a race. We're all, like for speed, it's a race. Everybody's going down the road, and everybody mostly is going the same direction most of the time. The most that speed could really tell me was that, like, you guys were going I imagined a certain miles per hour. But what does that mean? Like, what is the impact of that for you? It certainly doesn't increase your damage the faster you go. which is something I sort of assumed might happen. And same with the damage. Like, there wasn't really any clarity or additional detail on what damage should do.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a counter, and eventually the counter would run out. But, you know, as long as people were constantly fixing or updating the car or finding some way to do that, it didn't really actually have a big impact at all. So those were two things, like some of the other stuff you've said, where just kind of looking for more clarity. Those were the things that I would have wanted more clarity on, like materially, what is the impact of speed and damage?
Well, and I think going along that same line, with speed specifically, not only was it not clear what that was supposed to do, but we really were kind of guessing at what that actually meant for speed on a car, because we know we're not in a race in a Lamborghini going 9 miles an hour. So what does a 9 mean?
Right.
It's like a conversion.
Mm-hmm. And then why not just say that? You know? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
No, it's I think it's been all the way across the table. We enjoyed just the chaos of everyone trying to drive at once. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun. It did really lean into the theme of what if one of the characters in Fast and the Furious was 4 raccoons in a trench coat. Uh-huh. Dislikes, it doesn't really lean itself to being an RPG. It's the best driving RPG I've played. I loved that. But I honestly don't think that the mechanical choices made here actually leaned into the RPG aspect of it.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's definitely a point that I was feeling but didn't have the words for.
Yeah.
We've played a couple different games where they spend a lot of time kind of talking about character creation and like coming up with a backstory, and then it not being necessary for the actual game.
Well, that was another note I had, was like, we had some really cool stuff planned, and none of it, and I know that that's every TTRPG, right? Like,
Right.
But there was some stuff that, like, we literally had a mole instead of a raccoon, and there was a whole thing, and it just didn't matter. Like,
I gotta say, I was planning for an opportunity to rip off my bandit mask to help with something and be like, I'm sorry, but I'm a cop. I'm a cop. And it didn't come up.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But, like, yeah, there's definitely this sort of, like, once the rubber hits the road, it's a driving game. Mm-hmm. And I felt the raccoons were slightly more secondary than I was hoping for in a weird way.
It's interesting, kind of bouncing off that a little bit, is like one of the other dislikes that I had was the structure of the game was very regimented. It was like, at least my read was like, there were set rounds. We adjust the board, you know, you guys make, you know, we talk through an obstacle. The obstacle can be whatever, you know, I come up with what that is. And then you guys all make your decision, and then we resolve that decision, and then we adjust for speed and damage. But what that meant was, unless you specifically made the choice on your turn of like pulling in your backstory or your character in the number you picked, there was nowhere for it to come up. Like I was racking my brain about that. I was like, how can I make options for these guys to like have this like Point Break, like moment?
Yeah.
And that just like didn't ever. There wasn't a place in the game to do that.
Do we think that having all of the other racers be specific rivals might have helped? Because we sort of decided to have a couple of our rivals be the same thing, and then the rivals didn't come up at all. But I don't really know how I would have implemented them as a GM. I don't think I would have have an easier time being like, this rival of yours, he is here.
I should have had one of the other cars be the rival, probably. But I didn't think of it.
I think that segues pretty seamlessly into things that you would change, and I actually agree with you. I think that at least one of the other cars should be the rival, or even a couple of them, or whatever, and actually making it clear that you all have the same rival, because we kind of struggled with that too. So it seems like the things that I would change is that there's a lot of clarity that is lacking, and it seems like it relies a lot on the GM to kind of like come up with some things whole cloth, without any sort of like how do you control the other cars? Max, I think you did a great job, but there's nothing in the rules about like this is how you handle the other cars, or are are the other cars just supposed to be like obstacles,
Right.
and things? So
Well, and for that, it bottlenecks the GM too, because like Max was saying, it's so regimented in how you play. So it like relies on you so much, but then you can only do so much.
Yeah. It's weird because in a micro, I'm usually not inclined to like ask for additional rules. Like usually I'm very pro a rules light system that lets the GM and the players make that happen. But you're right that like pretty much from the equipment and how it worked to the choices and the number of successes it should be, to the driving mechanic and how to resolve those choices, all of that stuff, speed, damage the other cars, all of them, it felt like it's a game that wants to be a bigger game. And I kept like wanting that clarity from it. So like maybe it was too much of a game, kind of trying to stuff into like a micro kind of setting.
I feel like it's more of a game and less a role-playing game.
It would be a fun board game.
Yeah.
That's actually where I was going with this.
Yeah.
The idea of 4 raccoons dropping into a race is friggin' hilarious. But having like a full map and X many successes gets you X many spaces kind of feel on like your speed rolls. Between that or having a much larger map rather than 3 pieces of paper shifted to try and design what kind of angles we're looking at for turns and whatnot.
Yeah.
If I was going to try and run this, I would feel like I almost have to make a table-sized map.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
welcome
it
to my
would actually
next version of this game. I'm going to be using slot cars. We're going to play Crash Slot Car Pandas.
Yes. Yeah, I think it would be a very good board game.
I would love that as a board game.
Yeah.
Like
I
a
actually
pre-made
could have, like-
big map.
Next hangout without recording, I've got a board game I'm bringing for you guys.
Yeah, like it
It's-
would be really cool because then you could have like road tiles that you set up like dungeon tiles. or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever, and like maybe that's a thing. And to kind of talk about the more clarity for Max, one of the things that I think it could benefit from is just having a table for the GM to roll on of like complications.
Oh, yeah.
Or like or maybe that there's 2 tables, one that's like the next stretch of the road does this, like forks this way, or there's a speed trap, whatever it is, and then the complication is, you have the semi, but the road narrows to 2 lanes.
Right.
So you have like the road complication and then the physical object complication.
Yeah.
I think would have streamlined things a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I can really imagine that now. Like if it was, flipping of hex tiles or tables or something like that, where you were able to just draw from this constant pool. You could even have cards, that like a deck that you'd pull from, and that would start to populate the other cars on the road or the other, rivals or whatever. It would be really fun to lean into. This is a very different game at this point, but it would be really fun to lean into that like rival or mole undercover cop dynamic and have some people in the group have a hidden agenda.
I was literally kind of wondering, like, should we do a hidden identity thing?
I was
that's a
thinking
whole
about
different
that.
game, yeah.
Like, what if one person in the group, their job was to like sabotage or help someone else win?
I'm
just
actually
realized-
only 6 months old.
Yeah,
I feel like at this point we actually have to ask a very different question rather than what would we change.
yeah,
I think we have to come back to looking at the game as it is.
Yeah.
Like, what was the theme that Howitt was going for here, and did he or did he not get the intended effect?
So yeah, this is a game about street racing raccoons. We did a street race and we were raccoons. Success.
Yeah, I think for what it's worth, as much as we all have updates and changes and things like, oh, this would be better, yada yada, I think he actually did hit the nail on the head for what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
I said it earlier. One of the characters in Fast and the Furious is 3 raccoons in a trench coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually tried to make a Fast and the Furious TTRPG. I was using a couple other systems that I liked, and I gotta say, this one's just as good. Like, I tried really hard to make a rules light car game. It's hard as shit. This is great.
I think the reason it works actually is because you have multiple people trying to decide the fate of the car.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I think I don't completely agree that it was nailed on the head as for what it was trying to do. I think, as with a lot of Grant Howitt games, I think he tries to take a TTRPG or a theme like, okay, you're playing a heist. This is a race. This is whatever. And then he's like, let's throw a weird animal in it. You know, it's like your bear's doing a heist, your raccoon's doing a chase or whatever. And so I think he's very good at that, but I don't know, looking at just like the original or just the rules of the game, I don't necessarily think that... I don't think it would be a good racing game if you didn't have the raccoons. And then I think it wouldn't be a good, like, raccoon role-playing game if the structure of, like, having the race wasn't there. So, I don't know. I'm undecided about whether it did what it set out to do or not.
Well, that's just the thing, is as a racing game, usually you have each person in their own car.
Right.
And that's the
So
thing.
it's... In order to make the rules work, he has to have the theme. In order to
Right.
have the theme of multiple people who all have to work together to make the car work, he has to, in order to have that theme there, he has to have these rules. So it's,
Right.
I think he did actually get what he was going for. You just can't separate the two.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. That, like, if the theme is street racing raccoons that are collaboratively driving a car, done.
Yeah.
However, I don't know that theme is best served in the limited micro RPG context of this.
Yeah. And I think
Which is
that's where I'm
weird
at.
because I really have liked other games that could also be described that way.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like, for example, the mechanic of in Honey Heist, where you have the two stats of bear and criminal, and they could tip the scales at any time, that was just enough to, like, hold that together. Like, it gave you a container for how you would make choices, I think. And in this, I feel like it's missing some of that special sauce. And so then as the micro RPG format, it kind of falls apart a little bit. Like, there isn't enough of a container holding that together, even though it's effective in what it's trying to do. I think that's what I think.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yeah.
I will say, for what it's worth, I did have a great time playing today, but I wouldn't touch it again.
Well, now we're getting ahead to
Yep.
Yeah.
are we ready to do our final round of Table It or Shelve It? What other thoughts do people have?
I'm just curious what would have happened if I had stayed on the Supra.
Yeah, I actually, when that was happening, I was like, there is nothing in the rules that describes what would happen if the group gets separated. Like, on your turn, what would you do? Would you just create?
I helped drive the Supra.
I think what I would have done in that situation is I would have said, okay, you don't get to pick any other number except using an item or taking an action.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to brake or drive because you aren't driving the car. There's a human man driving the car. You aren't one of those people. So instead, you only get to make choices of what you have access to. But it's very possible that no set of actions or items could have gotten you back out of the Supra and into your car. And then I don't
Could
know.
have braked the Supra, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You could have, yeah.
Help him. Okay.
If you crawl down there and hit the brakes.
If I joined him in the car, then Max, you as the GM would have picked a different number, and the driver of the Supra and I would both be driving the Supra now.
I love that. Like, you're fucking like Ratatouille style on top of his head.
Yeah,
Trying to drive the car.
Rakakuni.
Rakakuni.
Oh my
Yes. Yeah,
That's very funny.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
I also, maybe it's just because we had the Star Wars ships, but like, I really liked having the Star Wars ships. Like, it must be a completely different game if you play with actual Hot Wheels or whatever, like it suggests. But like, I
It
don't
says
know, I really
die-cast
like
cars.
okay, die-cast cars.
For legal reasons.
Yeah,
Very litigious.
But like, I don't know. I just had the image of like pod racing instead
Yes.
of like So I think that messed up my head a little bit. Oh no, I knocked the raccoon over.
How dare.
It's okay.
I would love a pod racing variant of this game. That would be great.
Oh, I think that would be actually very easy to do. Like you're all Jawas.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
Jawas in a pod racer.
I think I'd
Crash
prefer the
Jawas.
pit droids.
Or
Yes.
the pit droids or like whatever. Porgs.
Yeah.
It would have to be porgs.
It would
Yeah,
have to
I think
be
it would have to
porgs
be porgs.
for maximum cuteness.
Oh god.
I will say I'm looking over the rules again, and I actually think that we rolled really well, and that impacted a
That's-
lot of things.
Yes.
Because there's a whole mechanic we didn't use about if a raccoon fails a dangerous action, but we didn't ever fail a dangerous action.
I
everybody
did
always
once.
had. There were a couple of times where people didn't quite make their roll, but it was close enough that I kind of erred on the side of I kind of introduced a mechanic which isn't in the game, which is like you get what you want, but something negative
Partial
happens.
success.
Well,
Like
and
a
I liked
partial
that.
success, but that
But
was
we also had a lot of successes.
mostly
banked.
successes. Yeah.
When we had so many banked that the few times we maybe would have ended up with a misfortune, we were like, well, we'll just use those successes.
That's a good point. Didn't it feel like there was a ton of successes?
There did.
There was a ton of successes on the speed rolls. And this is where
we never hit the brake.
yeah.
I
We never hit
guess.
the break. We kept adding more speed. And if we were
Which
keeping
gave
those
us more
speed
dice.
successes,
Yeah.
so that's
which gave us a higher
But the
chance
speed
of
had
it.
no impact really.
that's just the thing is part of the issue I had with this is the fact that we're all playing individual characters
Right.
and then the car is its own character,
Right.
which now has extra successes or damage to track.
Right.
So there was a whole extra added element that is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
not just in game format, but period.
Right.
Yeah.
I know I struggled with it.
Yeah, and it's not fair to put the onus on just the GM for that because that introduces the trend of the GMPC.
Right.
The
And
GMPC of a car.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing is it's not the GMPC because it is the car and all of our actions are affecting it. How fast
Right.
it's going, whether
Yeah.
or not it's turning, whether or not we can repair it mid race. Mm-hmm. Like it works out right, but it's not an RPG. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like the idea of having, honestly, if I was going to introduce this to people, I would create 6 or 7 different raccoons, stat them out separately, and then do little goofy cartoon pictures of them on an index card and pass them out to people and say, hey, pick the one you want. Mm-hmm. And then we'd have the issue from the car and say, okay, I would honestly skip the start of the race. It's like you're all together in this car, you're racing speed racer style. You have
Yeah.
all these cars together, you have all these shenanigans that people are trying to do, and all of a sudden the race is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have skipped that whole intro bit of like where you are and
Oh,
what
yeah.
the point is. And
The game starts on the starting line as it goes from red to yellow to green, go, go, go.
yeah,
I'm wondering if a way to kind of like mitigate things a little bit is that maybe your speed isn't constant, or like maybe everyone's speed is constant, and then like you have a choice to whether like gun it and you get like a burst of speed. So like for that round you pull ahead, or drop back or whatever like that. Because like I think that the more I think about it, like that speed thing is like really weird, and we ended up rolling like 12 dice at the end.
right.
So one of the things I've been looking at as we've been talking about the speed is that if we do a head-on crash, we take speed equal to damage.
Yeah.
Right.
Damage
Which-
equal to speed.
Which means that at the end we were rolling like 12 dice, which means that if we hit...
Our car would have just exploded.
yeah, you'd have
yeah.
hit 10 instantly.
Yeah.
But I just never, I mean, maybe that's on me as a GM. It just never felt like, it never felt required to put you guys in a crash.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it was like we did roll really
You kept
well.
rolling really good because you had all these successes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it becomes this like
There
repeating.
was one time where it could have come up, and that was where both of y'all turned right.
Yeah.
And it could have taken us off the road, could have done a whole bunch of other
Right,
things.
right.
Again, you were asking for clarification on how these things could have worked.
Right.
That would have helped with that. But then the speed roll happened and we got enough successes. It's like, oh, so it's actually, we got the stunt. We slid under the semi and we're back on the road now.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, it's both too hand wavy and not hand wavy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I keep coming back to. I think the setup and the theme and the interaction between the group of raccoons driving the car together, amazing. The container is just not right.
And I think that container that you're talking about, Max, is like, I think that like whatever you do, you just do for that turn.
Right.
So you have like 3 bursts of speed. You can pull 3 spots ahead of the people. Mm-hmm. And then in the next turn.
And I'm thinking even bigger than that. Like if we take the basic setup of this, I would prefer to see it either as a board game, right? Like leaning into that bit, seeing it as, hell, even a video game. You could do it like a Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time or Overcooked kind of thing where like you're running around, like there's all of that. Even in the world of a TTRPG, I feel like then I'd build out a little bit more of that clarification and make it be a little bit more of a zine and less of a micro. I think that's where I end up, I think.
So here's the thing about Grant Howitt. And this might be a hot, spicy take.
Oh my goodness.
Hopefully he never hears this show.
All right, I'm talking.
We ought to pay him at this point.
We are going to at him, right?
Oh, God.
I'm adding you, Grant. But no, is like, he's great at what he does. What he does is quantity. And so I actually wonder if, so he has all these like micro RPGs, and I wonder if not all of them are finished, or if he's just like, here's this, and then like with any micro RPG, there's so many different hacks of it or home rules and stuff, and I think that's both the strength and the weakness of Grant Howitt specifically.
Yeah,
because he's like, here's 100 mini games you can play, and then you can adapt them however.
Right.
And like, I've intentionally left it open to do that, and so if you're just trying to do it rules as written, it has that weird sort of
I think you're on the money with that.
flavor in your mouth.
For sure. For sure. Well, I think we've all said our piece.
Yeah.
So I think now it's time to do the rounds.
Yeah.
Would we table it or would we shelve it? Table it, would we leave it on the table to play it again soon, or would we put it back on the shelf? I think for me, although I'm generally a big fan of this author and stuff, and I love the theme of this, I would have preferred it in a different format. So I think I'm going to go with shelve it for me. Let's go around this way.
I am also going to shelve it. It's a trend for me in Grant Howitt games because his style generally doesn't agree with me. But this time, this one I have a legitimate bit. It would have been better as a different kind of game.
I absolutely love this. I want to change a few things as a GM potentially running it, because I've been dreaming of a good fast game. As a huge Fast and the Furious fan, I've been wanting a game that feels like Fast and the Furious, and comically this one felt better than any other racing game I've played. With a couple minor changes, I'm tabling the hell out of this.
Nice.
I'm going to say table it. I wish that there was like a table it and a half option. Like, I don't need to shelve it for way later, but I might not want to play it tomorrow.
Right.
So, but I'm closer to tabling it than shelving it by quite a bit.
Yeah. I think I'm going to shelve it because I agree with you, Max. I think I want it. I would absolutely table the board game version of this. And I think it should be called The Fast and the Furious. And so for that reason alone, I'm going to shelve it.
Perfect. Great.
All right.
Well, I think that's it for us today. A quick housekeeping note, and then maybe we can do any plugs and stuff. So yeah, this is Max. So I am going to be taking a break from Table It. Whips ass completely. Love the show. Love all of you. Love everything about this. And my dance card is a little full, so I'm going to be taking a little breather. But we have the wonderful, the amazing Cassandra, who's joining us, friend of the show, friend of ours, family of ours, one might say. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Cassandra Snow. I am also a voice on the Lesser Evil podcast that Manny runs. In my other life outside of TTRPGs, I'm a professional author and tarot teacher and reader. I was like, what do you do with cards
Reader.
other than teach about them?
You're a professional tarot card reader, writer, and arithmetizer.
No. And if you Google my name, you will see that I have books about tarot and witchcraft out. The most recent one is called Lessons from the Empress, which is all about creativity. And I actually talk a little bit about TTRPGs and how tarot helps inspire me and stuff in that if you want to buy it.
Dope.
You can find me on social media at mix.cassandra.snow on Instagram.
Amazing.
mx.cassandra.snow.
Perfect. Brilliant. Beautiful.
Any other plugs?
Cassandra sort of plugged this, but we have I and Cassandra have another podcast called Lesser Evil. It is set in a vaguely 90s-ish modern world. It's a D&D live-action play where the good guys can't win, we hope.
It's all queer, all chaos.
All queer, all chaos, and is basically the premise is what if Sauron had won the Lord of the Rings, so it's 100 years later and the Dark Lord has been in power. And it looks shockingly like our modern life.
We are all just cogs in a corporate machine in it, but we get into some stuff.
Great.
Capitalism is the true Dark Lord.
Wow, spoiler alert, we haven't gotten that far. Great, now I know the twist.
Unfortunately, I think we have.
Yeah.
And I suspect more collabs to come between the Lesser Evil crew and the Table It crew and beyond. Any other plugs? Anything else?
Sounds like we're good.
Dope.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Table It. You can find us at micro_RPGs on Twitter or email us at microrpgs@gmail.com. Our theme this episode is Chill Vibrant Jazz Theme by Danny Dory, and we'll see all the rest of you later.